I was gonna just listen to loud music. Well, music loudly, possibly loud music as well. Uh, and sculpt. I thought since I was here, I would start a live and just see what happens. Let's get rid of my logo. So, uh, Jen gave me an idea to repurpose unicorn horns that I make. I do resin unicorn horns. I do them as 2 feet, or 1 foot, and 6 inches. When you mentioned it, I was going to just do a 6 inch horn on a tiny little sculpted castle like pedestal. And then today we went out to lunch and she mentioned me using the 1 foot horn that I have and doing it as a candlestick. It would be here. Wow, they almost line up. You can see the tip in my front face camera. Um, so I was like, well, I guess I'll do both. I mean, I have both in existence already. The models already exist. So if I could repurpose them, I'm not sculpting a new piece. Um, so that's going to be what we're going to try and do. Oh my lord, my stomach. Also, uh, if you see me frantically grab this and fling it onto my work desk, I'll be back probably about 5 minutes. Let's just say lunch. We'll just say that and end it there. Oh, I moved my background. Oh, I moved my background again. How do we, where do we, how, there we go. Oopsie doodles. Is that right? Is that covering everything? I think it's covering everything. Let's click off of there. So yeah, that's what's cooking. My stomach. But so we're gonna detail this thing, finish cleaning it up, and I gave it a coat with the mineral spirits. So it gave it a matte finish and it made a bunch of stuff kind of disappears because it softens the clay. So now I'm gonna finish detailing and skin texturing the entire head. Uh, and I'm gonna sculpt a base on here. Probably keep it that height. I might add a little height to this. Then I need to make a plug, like a sculpt a plug that's going to be on the bottom of this so that it can plug into a candlestick. This is the only candlestick I have in the house. It's just one of those wood spindle things you buy for a couple of bucks at Mark's, or that's what in Northeast Ohio. I think we're left with Mark's, not Mark's, Michael's. We have Mark's up here. That is not anywhere else, but Michael's, I'm pretty sure, is national, mostly national. Um, so yeah, this is just like a cheap little thing from, I think it's from Michael's. I don't know, but I found it because I was trying to find like what diameter I need to use for a candlestick. I don't know if that's accurate, but I'm gonna try and just use that. No, anyway. All right. Before we do that, though, I will share some social media things with things going into places for things. My lord. Probably was a bad idea to do live. All right. All right, so after this, we're just going to do the candlestick experiment and maybe we'll sculpt the candlestick base. Then we'll get back to detailing the face. And then I can try and mold the face tomorrow, probably. I'm trying to decide if I just do a hold pour on it and then cut it open or what. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. And then I got to wrap my brain around again undercuts and stuff on this undercuts for like what me not knowing how the wax will work with a mold. I know the wax can, I don't know, crack, break. So I don't think I want to do any kind of major undercuts on that thing. All right. Wait, what happened? I don't know what I just clicked. So all right, close that up. All right. Again, I don't know what angle. I'm gonna lift this up a little bit so we can probably get more of the candlestick. Move that around a little bit. And then maybe if I think of it, I'll move it back. So I got this piece of plastic. Basically, it was gonna kind of push it in there to so I could shove clay into there to create the bottom plug I need for the wax. And I also kind of just need to fill the bottom of this horn. Wow. Let's see here. Let's turn. I think I can move that way. It's mineral spirits. I don't want to get this. Oops. That'll work. All right. So I don't want to get this head dented up. Move you over, move you over. Sure, we can put you there. Just looking for my sculpting tools. There's this one. We're just gonna go around it like that. That works. All right. Like that. So just kind of creating what I'm going to attach the plug to, and then we'll see. It's going to get poured, so the plug is going to be the bottom. So I don't know how I want to finish this quite yet. Like if I want to create a line here. I don't know. But let's just make that plug. So I'm going to hold some of this. I should have had some of this sitting in my hand. Get it soft up. Should buy a crappy little mini microwave for down here. I do have a coffee cup warmer. So I use this for monster clay. But I have monster clay hard in here. I'm using monster clay soft. I don't want to mix them up. Basically, I toss that in the microwave to soften the clay. All right, this is getting pretty soft. So we're gonna just smush this in here. This is the only way I thought of, well, I mean, easy way I thought of for trying to make a plug that would work in candlesticks. Or I should say candlestick holders. So I got the basic shape here. I can smooth it out with my fingers. I also don't know what the shrinkage rate is on the wax coming out of the mold. I know. Oh, oh, oh. The resins I use usually have minimal involved. The bad thing in this is that this is monster clay soft. So me testing this inside here isn't gonna really work that well. Like I can't shove it in there. really just, it's too damn soft. Um, so if this was Monster Clay hard, you know what, I could use epoxy clay on this, and that would really probably be the smart thing for me to try and do right now. Because then I could also actually attach the epoxy clay to the bottom of this. So we're going to switch up. And I need gloves. Where is, I see A, where is B? Oopsie. So, I'm going to do the same thing I just did, but I'm going to do it with epoxy clay. Don't know how much I'm going to need, but where is the other container? Got this. This might be what I need. Looks like it. All right, so we got Avis Epoxy Sculpt. Brown is what I have sitting around. The color is completely and utterly irrelevant for this, but one of the reasons I have the brown is that I use this when I make my bark sculptures. The bark animals. Because it starts me off with a brown base, and then I just got to add other brown shades to it. It works really well. So that's a little smaller than the brown. And this is just a 1-to-1 mix, but it doesn't have to be precise 1-to-1 mix. All right. What are we gonna do here? Scooch some stuff around. Put some solvent. This is just Avis safety solvent. So we're gonna mix these two together. We're gonna put a little epoxy clay on the bottom, and gonna try and do the plug. And then after it's cured for 24 hours, I can drill it or sand it or do whatever I want with it. I could drill a section out, Dremel it out, Dremel up design into it, whatever I end up wanting to do. So tomorrow I can come back to this. Right now I think I'm going to let it cure inside this. Maybe. I don't know. I might. Let's see what happens. All right. So you just want to mix it together until you can't see any of the gray inside of the brown. And the brown also lightens up a tiny bit. Comes a little more matte. And then when I'm mixing, I usually add the solvent in. So, and I don't want to use any of my sculpting tools with the epoxy clay, because this ends up being what my sculpting tools look like, covered in crap. So, all right, take a chunk of this. We're gonna do the same thing I did with that monster clay. Just put it inside here. tell if it's straight. The other thing about using this instead of monster clay for this particular quick little project is that it'll all bond and lock in here. I mean, no matter what I don't know what else I'll end up being able to do with this, but if I don't end up using it to make a candlestick mold. And then I usually use the solvent to just kind of go around. How's that looking? It looks straight? All right, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to, I don't know if I've got enough. Going to use this plastic wrap so I can do that with it. Yeah, I don't think I got enough. I think I'm going to have enough clay, but let's see. Could use a tiny bit more. Damn it. Maybe not. So, it's kind of what I was wanting to do. We're going to just attach this down here now. And when I think what I'm going to end up doing afterwards, after this fully cures tomorrow, I might add a slight piece of clay all around the bottom here. That would be in my head. Again, not having ever designed any molds for candles. In my head, that would help this. The only spot for pouring is going to be right here. So my thought is if this pours and this has a slight little, I don't know how to describe it, curve. So use this card to describe it. So right there, instead of being perfectly a right angle, I would create like a little curve all the way around here, because that curve would be easier for wax flowing. At least in my head, I know it would be slightly advantageous for resin. We just let the material flow a little easier with that curve. So I think after this cures, I might do that. And I think I'm going to let it cure inside the candlestick. So let's see here. It's not that easy, is it? So I'm going to just kind of pinch this stuff. Push that down and push this down. And you can kind of see how after I kept working with it, this little line is visible here. So I'm going to do one more test. And now that I have that around there, it's going to go back into here really easily. But now, let's move you over. I'm going to look. The thing I'm going to have to keep an eyeball on is this epoxy clay is still fairly soft. And I want to make sure it's straight all the way around. So I know you guys can't see the top other than up here, but see, when I look at it this side, it looks like it's over leaning this way. So in my head, I fix it, and then I look here, and it's also, actually, I mean, my horn is a little curved, but I think this being still fairly soft epoxy clay, just letting it shift. So I'm going to go step over to a table. Yeah, especially right there, you can see it was falling. I have something over in my other workspace that I can use. So I'm going to step away from my table and talk to myself over here. And I'm actually using a phone holder. Let's turn this light on. I feel like I need a bench to sit on to make sure this is straight up and down. All right, we're gonna see how this does. I think this cheap I think my cheap wooden candlestick thing is also not really level. It's pretty crappy. Also, the weight of the horn is pushing the epoxy clay around. I know, it's captivating content for you. All right, I'm gonna let this just sit, and it'll be a good starting point. If I need to make an adjustment, we can do that with a Dremel. But I think right now it looks good. So throw out the latex gloves, get rid of the epoxy sculpt. On to the next task. We're gonna make this square. I was gonna do this round, but I think square is gonna make the horn stand out more. So I'm gonna get my calipers out. I'm just gonna add clay around the base of this thing. And I think I'm gonna keep this height. But this is just gonna be the tiny little unicorn horn candle stick. Candle? What? Do, 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 do. Gotta put that away. Just thought I'd experiment with what I just did with my clay roller. I think we're gonna do that again. A little more clay. This guy, I don't really have. Ooh, I knocked his nose. I don't have a lot left to do with him. Just his texturing. And I think I am gonna just do 1 part mold, and then we'll cut the 1 part mold open from the back, so there'll be only one seam on the back. So it might mean I need to feather this ear out a little bit more. We'll see. Concentrate it one thing at a time, I suppose. So I am gonna sculpt this so it kind of looks like a castle wall, bricks, stones, whatever. We're gonna might need to add more. Get my bigger blade. Ugh. Do 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 do. Ugh. Where's my blade? I don't see my other blade over here. Again, this is the perfect upkeep workshop. Thought I had left it here. Yep. I found old blade. I'll just use this. And so I don't think I'm gonna. That should have been. Let's see. Be a little fatter still, but all right. All right. If there were people actually on here watching, I would say, should I make that bigger? Although it does look like there's one current viewer, but if you are a current viewer, feel free to opinion. Part of me thinks this should be a little bit bigger. Whoa, this guy using me. So do I just do a little block like that? I think I am going to just do a little block like that. Do need to add clay to these edges. Right there. You know, I don't have a tool to do a good right angle drag. I don't do it very often. Like I would use it right here in this instance just to make a sharp corner. Help make a sharp corner, but I guess it doesn't really matter. So this block is going to be part of the candle. Woo. Gravity 1 over on here. Gravity and weight distribution. Could end up doing something cool with this one too. Like I could put a ring in the bottom so that when all the wax melts down, there's just like a little gift. I don't know. We'll think about that. This guy stealing Addie's idea. Hey, James. Day is going mostly well. ate a burger at lunch when we went out, and it's TMI for you. Even that was TMI. So we'll see how the fates let that work itself out. All right, so I'm going to use my calipers again. We're going to measure lines on here for the stonework. I'm going to do more like a brick pattern versus doing kind of like castle stones. But I think that'll be cool as a cool little candle. I'm not sure, again, since all of this is new to me, no idea what I'm going to end up having to cost things at. Once I figure out, like right now I bought wax, but I didn't buy a mass amount of wax. And when you buy things in smaller quantities, they usually cost more. So once I figure out my costings and stuff like that, odds are this guy, since I'm going to do the hidden dice inside of him, and I think I'm either going to include a coaster or charge $5 for a coaster for the head to sit on. And as a matter of fact, I'll probably do it for this guy too. So it might end up being that, like, I'll do these as extra because people aren't going to need 5 of these if they buy 5 candles. Unless, of course, they're gifts. But anyway, I'll probably do it as extra. So I'll probably sell the coasters for like $5 or whatever. Hope everything is going all right for you down there, James. Maybe I will see you at the Akron Zoo's Renaissance Festival. I'm going to be joining in that next month. So I didn't calculate. Oh, I'm off camera. Am I off camera? I'm far away from my desk. Didn't really calculate the height on this to divide it by 3. So I have a little bit at the bottom. I think we're going to sculpt that and add mass at the bottom. Make it look like grass or dirt at the very bottom of the wall. I don't know. Just more plotting and scheming. We'll get this one roughed out. Don't know if we'll get this one done. All right, so now we're going to do size of a brick. Let's see, if it's that high, I might end up just doing 2 bricks on every side. I don't know, let's see. It's not going to be weird if I do that. And then that would be there. And then that would be there. And that would be in the middle. So that would be there. That would be there. That would be there. Much more economical to do, energy efficient to do both of these at the same time. All right, so we got our basic bricks. I think that'll work. And then, yeah, I think I'm gonna just add some clay to the bottom. Maybe I'll do a generic little grass texture, little gravel texture, but it'll also add it'll make the base pour a little bit more wide. And again, do that angle that I was talking about. So it'll help the pour, I think. I think. Let's see, what tool do we want to use? I think this one might be good for, we're just going to go over all these lines. Do one round all the way around, and then we'll go back and do a round of cleanup and alter any lines that we need to alter, because as you kind of go across like that, you block that, so there's lots of little tweaking that has to kind of happen. All right, probably don't need to do this bottom one, but might as well. I changed my mind. I'm allowed to. All right. Cross. Cross. Oh, horrible posture. Then after I do all these lines, we'll add a little stone texture to the bricks as well. I think it might be cool to be able to hide something in the base of this. Don't know what, because you know, every little cute idea adds to costs that have to happen. So I don't know. But we'll see. It's not something I have to do. But if something has to change from $30 to $45 to take into account what's inside of the candle. I guess that's where I'll have to see where the value shows up to people. think all these little imperfection also that kind of happens when I take this down and then push the clay in, like little lines here. I think that all just is going to add to the face of the brick. Cool. I guess we're done with that step. I'm just going to go around now and try and flatten some stuff with my fingers. I'm trying to decide if I go down a little deeper for the grout lines or if that's good. And since it's going to be a candle, I think it's not going to happen. I think I'm going to leave it as it is. You still out there, James? Let's see. It shows something's there. I think in reality that epoxy clay stuff I did a little bit ago, in about 3 hours, it'll be plenty hard enough for me to take out of that candlestick. Right now, if I go over to it, it's probably still going to be soft. Not like it was when I was working with it, but if I needed to tweak the angle on it, I could still do that. All right, I'm going to go with this tool up here. This is the one I was going to use to try and make a deeper line here, but I'm using it to kind of create a little bit of a more noticeable, since the tip is pointier, it's working a little better for me doing that on the top of the. All right, cool. So now I have to decide what I'm going to do for the stone texture. I don't know if any of those little tools I bought have a cool stone texture. Let's take this clay. That's not stone. Let's see what you're gonna look like. Don't like you for stone. Not sure with how far away the camera is up there if you can see the little textures that I'm doing. This is like a bubble. Cool texture, but not stone. I might end up just using my Dremel sanding disc. That's not bad. This looks like it's going to be stony. It's not horrible. This is like bubbles, so it's gonna. Not good to see you're still here. So that's an interesting texture, but not stone. This isn't going to be stone either. And this isn't going to be stone either, but let's see what it looks like rolled out. done this before, but none of them are sticking in my head other than the skin texture one I use. That's not horrible for stone. And this would just do the reverse of the bubble one. All right, cool. I think we're going to do some combo work here with a couple of these. I think I'm going to do this and this other one. Let me see if I can bring this down closer. All right, so I think for first, we're going to do that texture. I'll probably have to redo some grout lines also. Oh, I think after we do these textures, I'll fart around with figuring out what I want to do on the bottom here. Okay. And we're going to take this one, do the same thing, roll it around. Just lay it on top of what I just did with the other one, but not as hard, I don't think. I think also I'm going to go back over my grout lines with the pointier tool. Let's see. Oh, what did I do? Oh, that saran wrap is over there being used. I think I have another piece somewhere. Maybe not. Yep. Excuse me. Again, pardon. Twice. Okay. So let's get these pour tools over there for now too. So this is the slightly pointier one. So I'm gonna kind of go back through. And I did. I'm just gonna kind of wiggle it so it's not perfect. Not that it would be perfect anyhow. And like that. Remember my original decision of not using this? If I had used this, I probably wouldn't quite have to be doing this again. And that line's pretty much obliterated. So let's redo that. And these lines are pretty much obliterated. Again, also, my material choice is leading to these lines being obliterated. If I had used Monster Clay Hard, I would have to push in the texture tool in a lot harder, but the material below it wouldn't spread out as much and smush as much. And see, like that line is gone. All right. I think this will end up actually being kind of a cool candle too. So thanks again for Jen and her good ideas that she always gets. It's also an easy build since I already make the unicorn horns. All right, and that was what made it pop into her head. So I think this is pretty much done. If I wanted to, if I have the silicone, which I'm not sure if I do, I could pretty much mold this thing tomorrow and be ready to use it next week when my other materials show up. So we're gonna go around a tiny bit. Now the person that makes these, which I think was the Abracadabra, anyway, they're on Etsy. I think they started to make a pointier tip. These look very much soft, like a Q-tip type tip. If I remember correctly, they started to make a slightly pointier tip, and I thought that was kind of a cool idea. All right, just one more walk around since I noticed that. I noticed that, and that, and that. Don't know if I want to do a cracked brick. So there, 6-inch unicorn horn on a stand. Wick will come out the top. And I think I am gonna but also have these at my table with the candles. And I think that means I'm gonna have 3 candles to start with. I'll do the full foot-long stick candle, and I don't remember what these are called, what they technically call a figure. Not votive, I don't know. But anyway, let's get this thing out of the way so I don't do anything stupid to it. Back there. So on to detailing a Z-face. So I already went over it with the mineral spirits this morning, and I did a little bit of other texturing with the wire brush tool or wire tool. So I might do this a little more. And there are a couple of spots where I can kind of see that I probably should smooth it out a tiny bit. Let's see here. I'm trying to decide if I put wrinkles in his head, in his forehead. Excuse me. The other thing that just hit me is that I don't want, crap. I was going to do this as a 1-part mold. But I don't think that's going to be a good idea. I mean, I know it's not going to be a good idea because my idea would have been to would have been the line right here where I have my logo. And you don't want to have that as your mold line because then your logo is going to have a line right through the middle of it. So I think I'm going to be back to a two-part mold and deciding how I'm going to do that. If we do the mold line right there, around the ear and then back down. So this ear would all be part of the top and the seam would be behind the ear. I think that's probably going to end up being what it is. All right, let's take our piece of plastic, take our pointy tool, and we're going to do forehead lines on this guy. And let's do a crappy one or two with my left hand. There. Oh, let's get this out of the way. I have a lot of coasters somewhere that are already done, and they have a bunch of Norse ruins. So all right, let's go back to zooming around and looking at spots that I just might need to slightly tweak, like that. I should do a 3D print of my signature to stamp into stuff. Maybe just my wax seal and a signature. I don't know. I don't ever really do stuff like that with my models. Okay. And let's see. So, I also had a talk with Jen about when I had this sitting on a tabletop, like a sofa table. If you're standing up and you're looking at it, you're just seeing the top. So you don't see the expression on the face. So my thought was to lean it like that. But then if I light a wick here, all the wax is just going to melt down here. You'll get some random pore stuff happening, I think. But so I'm not going to do the tilt. If somebody wants to display him differently than how he is, that'll be on them. All right, I am looking for a tool to use to clean up the bottom. I don't know if this is going to work for what I'm thinking. No, probably not. Not really either. All right, I guess I'm just going to use one of these. I'm just trying to get rid of all the clay I have that's doing the slow fade onto this wooden board. I want it to have a hard hit. Since this is oh, you know what? This made me remember that I wanted to fill the bottom of this up. with some sort of other detailing, but I think I'm just going to keep it as rock. I'm just not going to have a line on it. All right, let's get back to this. You don't hear my background music at all, do you, James? When I shut my mouth and there's no other sound going into the microphone? Oh, good. Thank you for letting me know. I just always think, because my OBS Studio, if I shut my app, I see a very faint green line still bopping. All right, so that's pretty good cleanup on his neck. So I'm going to, I did a whole bunch of scratches all over him, but I haven't done a lot of that back here, so I think we're going to do that. Ugh. So I think this head is big enough to where me doing the texture skin cross hatches kind of works. Sometimes on the art dolls, not so much. Yeah, when I do this, just kind of do some random angles in all directions. All right. Do it to the ears. this ear, so it doesn't really have the lines I did earlier. I also did all these textures before the textures that are on top of the head before I did the brushed on all the what's the word I'm trying to think of? Mineral spirits. So it faded some of it, which also helps. But I'll see if I do another round of mineral spirits after I do all these detailing. Let's see here. Let's do this here. Same way I did the other one. Just gonna randomly go both ways there on it. Doesn't look like I did any lines underneath this ear. I did do a little bit of scratches on his schnoz earlier. A little more. I think I'm going to take a sculpting tool and kind of go over the eyelids a tiny bit. And I do want to do a couple of lines on the lips, like that, and that, and that. And do that over here. I should be doing that with this. It'll stop the material from creating a bigger line. Let's add some here. And let's do over here. Not bad. And those nostrils are shallow enough, but noticeable enough. So I think we're ready to try and start using these. I think I'd ended up using this texture ball a tiny bit. Yeah. So I think we're ready to try and start do that stuff to this as well. Some other textures. Ooh. All right. Oh, I didn't realize I had dropped his head over there. Put him over there. Oh, oh. Maybe I should work on this guy too and finally get him made. No idea if folks would dig him, but it really doesn't need a lot of work done to him still. I just need to do some new texturing, some new bark texturing. All right, let's see what we're gonna do. Oh, my stomach just, let's, where's the, oh, there's a flesh texture that I liked. You're not it. Uh, eh, er, eh, er. You're not it. Where the heck? Oh, there it is. So it's a very subtle skin texture that is kind of cool that she made. So I'm going to put this under everything else. Looks like I gotta clean this up a little bit. And I kind of want to follow the same direction. So I'm going to roll this from that way. So it means I roll that way. The other not great thing about soft and when you're holding a model the way I am to do these things is that my finger is going to wipe out all the stuff up here. But that's okay. When I set it back down, I quit holding in that spot, I'll be able to repair whatever I've done, whatever shenanigans I've pulled and removed textures from. So that's not horrible. So, the other tool I used was this weird, where'd it go? I think it was this weird brain-like one. Yeah. I'm not going to use this in a lot of places. That's what it looks like up close. Oop, let's bring it in focus. Just going to randomly kind of go around in places and do a quick roll. You too, James. Thanks for the quick stop in. Actually, not so quick stop in, but you were here for a little while. I appreciate it. Thank you much. Let's see, we do this little weird texture on his schnoz a little bit too. And what else do we got in here that we were messing about with? We use this a little bit. What happened to the little piece of wood I had for my pretend wick? I might actually keep that in while I'm casting it. Or not. I don't know. I think I might. I don't know where that little piece of wood went though. I'll have to make another one. Might be underneath here. It's like a dummy I left this gap here. Actually, I had to. My camera wires go underneath there. Go underneath that. Let's see. Still says I have one viewer. Don't know if they're actually listening or not. But that's good because I think it just lets the programming know something's out there. I think I used this and I rolled it in a couple places too. This just as a, I dig these too. I don't remember who these are from. Might be from the same place I got these other skin pokey textures from. Might be from YK Studio. I don't remember. But look up on Etsy. Buy them off Etsy because the people that make these things are actually on those sites selling and not coming from some other country that's trying to rip people off. Yeah, I think I'm gonna tomorrow morning after this sits for a little while. I think I am going to do another round of mineral spirits over top of it. Lots of pores. Just making pores on the face. Pore face. That should be pretty cool. This was something I had no idea if I was going to dig when I was working on it. But actually, it should be a cool little candle. All right, I'm kind of digging what we got going on. Let's try and think of what else to do with the ear. If I put some pores in the ear there. Let's see. Put some pores in the earlobe. Pores here. Add a little textures inside the ear too. Not bad. Do that to the other ear now. Some random taps inside. And then we'll do some stuff around the earlobe and the top of the ear. I kind of spin this while I'm doing it. So the little pore dots move around a little. Cool. I think I did say I wanted to try and do something to the eyelids. I'm afraid that might make me do something I regret. I might not like the lines, and those are going to be a lot harder to undo. All right. I'll look back here and decide if I want to do the. I'm just thinking of, you know, you get older, your eyelids get baggier. So I'm thinking here on the eyelid there, on the eyelid up here. All right, let's do it. It's going to be very subtle. But I guess it does help. All right, I don't regret it. I think we're going to do the same thing on this a little lower eye on both sides. All right. Kind of happy with what we got going on here. So, first couple of Claude Raymond design candles will be this goblin face, which is going to be a dice goblin because I'm going to plant dice inside of it as I pour it. Wish me luck with that idea. I'm going to try a couple of those. And we're going to do a candlestick that's going to be a unicorn horn. And we're going to do another, I think, votive whatever. This guy. This is going to be candle 3. And I think for 2025 and my candle experiment of 2025, those are going to be the 3. I can't think of something else that I want to try and do. I would try to do a smaller candle that, might be a $20 candle. He's probably going to be about 40, 45 with his dice. He's probably going to end up being 35, 30, 35. The other unicorn horn, the foot long ones, those are probably going to be close to 50. Maybe 45. The horns I sell are 50 because they all get painted and detailed. All right, I think that's going to be it for my live. I might do a couple of more little tweaks on everything, but I'm pretty sure I am D-O-N-E. Huh. I'm still seeing little tweaks to do to like this. All right, coolio. Nobody else watching? I'm going to just stop here. All right, thanks, James, as always. Just stopping by, I'm sure helps with the YouTube rhythm. I'm going to go head out and don't know what I'm going to do. But tomorrow I got more sculpting to do, I think. Maybe making a mold. We'll see. All right. Goodbye. Oh, wait. Ko-Fi. Ko-Fi. If you want to drop some change into the tin can, it's always helpful. I do have a new project for these candles listed up there. So, all right, I'm going to go. Goodbye.